It's game 2 of the first round of the CCBL playoffs, and the Commodores look to stay alive, trailing 1-0 to the Braves. Tonight, Falmouth takes on Bourne from Arnie Allen Diamond at Gov Fuller Field. Hello and welcome to a playoff edition of Opening the Door alongside Logan Soforenko. I'm Trey Redfield. So glad you're with us tonight for the Doors and Bravos. And Logan, last night was a heartbreaker for Falmouth. It put the ball out there in play. It scored 5 runs, just wasn't enough to Bourne 6.
Yeah, I spoke to the Bourne Braves staff. They were actually shocked that the Bravos came away with that victory. It was a 6-5 final, but the big thing were the errors. There were a lot of errors committed. We saw some great defense, specifically from Nelson Taylor in center field for the Bourne Braves. But the Falmouth Commodores, they did their job offensively. Jacob Walsh continued to hit well at Dore Park. He had a 2-run double, and then Anthony McKenzie had a 2-run double. And the Falmouth Commodores were caught in some interesting run-scoring scenarios by the Bourne Braves, as the Braves got a designed little pickoff play over there at second base. That scored a run, and they also got a run on a throwing error by Josiah Cromwick. And it was an ugly one, but realistically, we got home last night and said that was a great game of baseball. But the bad thing is, it was in the playoffs, and the Doors are facing elimination today.
And the bad thing is that Falmouth put up 3 errors to Bourne's none. Logan, how important is it for the Commodores to clean it up defensively tonight?
Well, they went into the postseason with consecutive games without errors, and they were also in the win categories. We saw in Game 44 against the Catuit Kettleers, the Falmouth Commodores had quite a few errors. But before that, in Wareham, they had not committed errors. And we saw a lot this season. When the Commodores stay cleaned on the diamond, they are going to win baseball games. So it's simple. Know what you're going to do when the ball is hit to you. The coach always says, have that in your mind before the ball is even in play. And we saw this last night in left field. There was a single off of the bat of Josh Kuroda-Grauer that ended up sailing over Jacob Walsh's head at first base, and he ended up being at third base. He was stranded there, thank goodness, but the errors were there and in play. So the Commodores, it's simple. There's nothing scientific about it. They just can't commit errors because they have had a lot of success this season when they keep it clean on the diamond.
If you were talking to Susan, you just tell her it's just baseball, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But tonight's a big matchup. We said it. Win or go home for the Commodores. Logan, what's a matchup that you're looking out for between the Doors and Bravos?
Well, we saw it last night offensively from Matt Shaw. He didn't really have the best day at the plate, but he was great at second base. But I'm actually going to go with Joshua Kuroda-Grauer. He was swiping the bags yesterday. He's a speedster, very aggressive in the batter's box, and we saw him in batting practice actually hit 3 consecutive balls into right field over the fence. And the Braves are doing that a lot. We saw this when the Falmouth Commodores took on the Chatham Anglers just about a week ago, where Rock Riggio hit 5 home runs in batting practice, and he ended up having a 2-home run day. So the wind is carrying out. We look at the flag to our left. It's blowing out towards the outfield. So the ball's going to carry today. Who's going to make it the long ball? Their best friend? We'll see if it's either Joshua Kuroda-Grauer, but it could also be Mac Horvath, as he was hitting some consecutive balls over the fence in left field.
Well, if you were telling Jerron Watts-Brown all this stuff, I think he'd be a little upset. Jerron is getting the ball tonight for the Commodores. He was second in the league in strikeouts. Logan, the mindset for Jerron all season is strike one. I'll have more on that in a little bit before we get into the swing of things, but this is the right man on the mound. I know you know that. Why is that, though?
Well, it's because he's also seen the Bourne Braves a lot this season. And you could look at that as a positive or a negative, because we were talking about it with our beat writer, Tommy Muma, and he actually said it benefits the offense by seeing Jerron Watts-Brown so much. The Falmouth Commodores have seen the Bourne Braves 6 times in the regular season, 1 time in the postseason. Watts-Brown pitched in 2 of those starts at Dore Park. And he also has that wicked slider, the wicked curveball. But you said strike one, he's got to attack. Now going to Oklahoma State. He was at Long Beach State this past spring, finished the Cape League season with a 3-3 record, a 3.40 ERA. And it's good to see him get run support. He didn't get that in the beginning parts of the season. So if the Doors are able to get that tonight and strike early, Watts-Brown's going to work to his advantage. He had a season high in strikeouts with 9 at Dore Park in game number 4 of the regular season between the Bravos and the Commodores.
It's going to be exciting to see what Jerron can do. It's Falmouth's ace. He's been that throughout the season, but it's also Bourne's ace going to the mound as well. It's an unfavorable matchup with a lefty on the mound and a lot of lefty batters. Logan, it's Hunter Purtado, the southpaw out of Alabama.
Yeah, and statistically, not the best season on Cape Cod. 0-1 record, 5 starts this year. His only bad outing, realistically, was against the Falmouth Commodores. That was on that controversial play where Peyton Stovall hit a little chopper down that first base line, and all the Commodore fans know what happened after that. But Furtado was the one that gave up that inside the park home run to Alex Mooney in that inning. And we were speaking to the Bourne Braves staff. Shout out to the Bourne Braves beat writer, Mac Friday. He said, had that play not happened and we had not stopped for about 10 minutes, Furtado would have shut that inning down 1-2-3, because he went into that controversial play striking out 6 in a row. So if he is able to go back to that mindset and do something that the Falmouth Commodores have not really done this year well, is hit against southpaws, then the Braves are going to be having a good time tonight. But realistically, the Commodores have hit .262 against southpaws this summer. But the big outing that we see was against the Orleans Firebirds in the early parts of the season, that doubleheader, where all they did was throw lefties, and the Commodores couldn't hit them. But they had some success against Furtado. They're going to have some today to stay alive.
It's going to be really interesting tonight. There are only two options for the Commodores. They either win tonight and force a Game 3 at Dore Park tomorrow night, or they go home and their season is over. It's the first round, Game 2 of the CCBL playoffs. The Dores and Bravos coming up soon.